Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Grumpy Old Man, Painting with a Grumpy Old Man. My name is Mike Tarver. I am that grumpy old man. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Jose Trujillo, the artist from Arizona, who sent me a paint crimper. These things are quite expensive, and they really get all the paint out of your tubes. So thank you so much, Jose. If you guys haven't seen Jose Trujillo's lives or watched them on YouTube or gone to eBay and bought one of his paintings, you're missing out. The guy's a great artist. So thank you so much, Jose, for this. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So, got a lag delay between me getting on and everybody else getting on. So today's painting is going to be sort of I do a lot of course, Impressionism. And so this is going to start off slightly impressionistic, but I'm just going to put the background in. Today, as opposed to working top to bottom to whatever, today I'm going to actually work from the center of the painting, and I'm just getting this here so I can make that lighter yet. It's going to be a very, very, very pale yellow in the middle of this painting, like the light coming through the trees. But this is, be it known, this is definitely a experimental piece. I've never done anything like this before. I've painted trees and stuff like that in light, but never in this thing. I'm going to use the very broken up dash and dot style that I use with all my Impressionist paintings, but this is going to be just a little different. I don't normally use this as a background. Usually if I'm just going to have light and stuff coming through the back, I'll just go with a flat background and not worry about it. But today, give them a little bit lighter out here. Pull a little yellow in here. And I'm just going to come on out here like this, just blots, dots and dashes, dots and dashes, dots and dashes. Having a hard time getting my feed tonight, so if you're on there, I'm sorry if I don't communicate with you, but welcome to the show anyway, and enjoy. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel, Grumpy Old Man Art. Pretty fun, pretty awesome. This isn't, this isn't rocket science here. Just making it very, very light in the middle, and then I'll slowly get to darker and darker yellows as I get to the edge. But I want to get the middle very, very light, little sprinkles of light around. And you won't see most of this, but that's okay. You don't have to. So now I've got that first batch on there. I'm going to go with another ring going on the outside. So, and this is only a 14 by 11. It's a small. I like to do the smalls because they're quicker and easier. And they go faster, and I can get through 3 or 4 of these in a day if I want, maybe 4 or 5, depending on how long I'm taking and how complicated the painting. Normally on this show, I don't really make very complicated paintings. And this one I usually make it a little bit. Let's make it a little bit lighter. I usually make these paintings pretty simple. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just having fun, and this is what this is all about. If you're getting into art, the first thing you need to do is love it. If you don't love it, then you should probably leave it alone. I'm going to take this out a lot wider here. I'm going to do it in different rings, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, till I get close to the edges of my painting. And it doesn't have to be perfect here. I'm not looking for perfect, looking for movement, liveliness. beauty. I don't know what the dickens is wrong with my Instagram this morning, but it's just not wanting to play. So let's see what we got here. Maybe if I cut the internet on, that'll help. All right, you do. So let's go ahead and there we go. Now I should be coming through. Alrighty. So I've just started this 11 by 14, and I'm just dashes and dots. Probably end up being on my gravestone. Dashes and dots. Paint with a grumpy old man. He paints with dashes and dots. The background you can see is a very light pink, almost magenta pink, but it is just very pretty. And I put it back there because if it shows through, it will just add to the effect that I have light here. And so, you know, as the strokes can show, it doesn't matter. It's not a, nobody's going to sit here and measure it, but I found that most of my art, when you look up on it hanging up, when it's hanging up and it's framed and stuff, and you're standing back like you're supposed to from paintings, it looks really, really gorgeous, actually. I love the effect that this yellow, not this yellow, but this technique of loose brush painting gives to me. It's just a very, come back out from the, put some more white in the middle here. Bring the white over here a little bit. And I like the texture. I like it to be a bold texture. Don't be afraid of texture. I don't cover everything up. I just cover most of it up. So I don't really worry about it too much. But I'm just getting light into my background. I'm going to go with add a little bit of ochre yellow into this mix. It's going to give it a sort of a different sort of flavor around the edges. So you don't want to get too much paint in your brush because then let's make that a little darker yet. Let's maybe add a little magenta to that. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. There we go, a little bit darker. And these are places that you wouldn't normally see with your naked eye. I mean, it's just out here in the middle of nowhere. The edges of your vision, so to speak. Today in school, as you know, I'm a teacher. Today in school, my students asked me who I was going to talk about next. I don't know, they never want me to talk about them when they're in class, but when I'm on my paint show, they want me to mention them in the paint show. So today I'm going to talk about two middle school boys that are in my classes. Most of my classes are high school, but I do have middle school classes as well. And so these two middle school boys, and their names are Cameron and Carter. And I like those guys, man. They're pretty awesome. They're both very different. And so it's really weird when you put people that are different into a classroom together. You get interesting dynamics. And so, but because they're just absolutely totally different. Cameron, very sweet by nature. Both the boys are good-natured guys. But Cameron, he may be one of the nicest little guys I know. And I enjoy teaching him, except for the fact that he won't sit down. He is what they call ADHD squared times 2 over the hypotenuse of 3. I mean, this guy never saw a chair he wanted to be in. So, I mean, he has the greatest trouble sitting still. And, I mean, I've taught a lot of kids that have ADHD and stuff, and this kid vibrates, man. It's like, vibrates. You know, it's like his desk put together with bolts and screws. I think he has shaken all of the screws out of his desk just with his perpetual motion. If America's ever in a crisis where they need energy, I'm going to go to my friend Cameron, because Cameron has plenty of that, plenty of energy, and he can flat make you tired. He sure can. And Carter, the other guy in my class, also a great kid. He's smart. He's the smart one. I mean, he is. He knows it. It's good when you're smart, but sometimes it's bad when you're smart and you know you're smart. It can make people mad, but who cares? Flaunt it, I say. Too many kids are out there going, "Oh, you're an egghead." Yeah, they're going to be your boss. Suck it up, you loser. I don't know why kids are like, "Oh no, he's a smart person. He's not cool. He'll be cool when he's paying your paycheck." So, hey, have at it, dumb people. Make fun of the smart guy. That's a great move for career and opportunity. So, but Carter's nice. He's very bright, and he's always ahead. I don't ever have to. He's never late. I don't think he's ever been late with a single assignment for me, which is unusual for middle school, because that's kind of their middle name, late with assignments. And they have 1,000 excuses. They should, if middle schoolers ever write a book, it should be excuses for why I didn't do what I was supposed to do, because they certainly got it. But when you put Carter and Cameron in the same room, super smart kid, super hyper kid, you got to know that the super smart kid is going to get slightly annoyed with the super hyper kid. And boy, they go back and forth at it, those two. Just snark, 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 back and forth, back and forth. It's awesome. If you like entertainment, but you don't have money to go to the theater, become a teacher. Those kids will keep you thoroughly entertained all day long, all day. So I got the best job in the world. I yell at people, not really yell, but I get to fuss at people, tell people what to do all day long, and be entertained by just the sheer craziness of hormonal imbalances that I have to deal with on a daily basis. And one second they're laughing at a joke, the next second they're crying because their life is over. But it's very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic in middle school. High school is not quite as bad. They're more thinking that they're somebody when they're not really somebody, and then they get out in the real world and say, "I wish I had to listen to Mr. Tarver." That's right, pal. You should have listened to me. But those two guys, they are comical, and they just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Sometimes I have to quiet them down just so I can get my lesson in. I'm like, dudes, trying to teach here, got a job to do. Shut your faces, keep them pie holes closed. But they are so entertaining. That's just absolutely entertainment at its finest when you teach middle school. Those two guys keep me on my toes. Keep me on my toes. Call me old man. Tell me I got arthritis. And I do. But that's okay. So I don't really care. Truth never hurt anybody. Well, I probably did, but I'm just going to say that because I don't want it to be hurtful. Okay. I'm going to come back in the middle with a big old glob of white like this. I know that's not the art way to do it. But it's getting a little stiff in here. And that's what I want. I want to stiffen up a little bit because I'm going to use a technique that I use a lot, where I get all the dots and dashes, and then I smooth them out a little bit with this blending brush. This blending brush is like super cool, and so I think it's pretty awesome. This blending tool right here. So if you make a mistake, blend it away, blend it away. So that's how we want to do. Let's see if I can refresh this thing. Does it refresh? Of course not. All right. If you're on there watching me, thank you so much. I do appreciate your patronage. You can find my work on eBay. You see how this kind of gives it a nice glowy effect, kind of glowing through here. Now my light's not centered, and a lot of people are going to look at it and say, well, his light's sort of to the left. Yes, it's sort of to the left. Things in the center tend to not be as awesome for some reason. just blending away. If you're real close to this, you can see, man, there are thousands of little dashes and dots. And they're not really going anywhere. So that's about as blended as I wanted. I want it to be kind of moving in the background. And so there you go. Okay, I'm gonna pull out some different brushes here. This is a very fine brush right here like this. And let me go back. Okay. Well, this is a fine brush, and I use it to draw background lines. I'm going to show you what I do just right here. Take a look at that. Let me just check my phone. Let's see. All right, so everybody's been told that I'm online. Okie dokie doke. So I'm going to take this really, really dark purple here, this purple right here, and that's what my tree trunks are going to be made out of. Oranges and yellows go really good with purples, okay? And I'm just going to lay in some lines back here, okay? Not a lot, just in different places, different sizes. And a lot of these will, in fact, get covered up. Just little trees in the distance. Don't have to be perfect. You really wouldn't see these in a forest much anyway, except for the shadows in the background. And that's about as big as I'm going to go with those. And there's little lines here. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Trees that are in the background. I'm going to moisten my purple here a little bit. It's a little thick. I'll pull these trees down. Twigs coming in different directions. These don't have to be too obvious. They're just little background trees. Some of them are more background than the others. I'm going to sort of do a slight overhang in the back here. Now, if you look at this, you go, well, that looks kind of, sucky. You'd be right. But it's not about those trees. It's about the ones that are going in right now. Okay, so we got trees in the background. We got a light coming out. And now, I'm going to take this flat brush. It's got a slight angle on it. Okay, and this slight angle is going to, let's see, excuse me. Okay. Wait a minute. Come on, you silly thing. All right, there we go. This angle brush is going to allow me to paint in bigger trees. Bigger trees. So I'm going to have a big old fat tree. Let's get some paint on here. Big old fat tree right here. And I want it fat. I don't want it thin. I want it fat. These fat trees right at the front. There we go. And then I'm going to add a few more trees up in here. Maybe a little bit further in distance. And the only way you can differentiate, I hate big words, people. The only way you can tell the difference is that they're either thinner or they're farther away, okay? Thinner or farther away. I'm only going to put about 4 on here. I'm going to put one up in here like this. Maybe some more skinny ones in the background. This guy, I want him to be kind of solid right here. Okay? And so on this one, I'm going to come really big on the edge, like this. Because I want to give it the look of going backwards. Okay? So I will come here a little bit smaller with this one. A little bit smaller. Now I'm doing different from both sides because I'm going to have it come to a point right about here where we have a sort of a like come into a some more little trees in the background. Okay. Then I'm going to come in here And be generous with the paint. Never skimp on the paint. I'm gonna run some branches here. You know, like I said, if I wanted perfection, I'd take a photograph, but I don't. I want a nice, thick coat of paint. I think I'm actually going to make this tree bigger too. Okay. I'm going to make sure they go all the way down the bottom. I'll probably put some grass around the bottom, but maybe not just yet. And then I'm going to switch brushes up here. I'm going to go to a little bit smaller brush. You go to the brush that I use for all the dashes and dots. And then I'm going to make a nice wet puddle here. You got to have this wet. This going over other paint, so I want to have a thin thing so I can make the branches, right? So down here, catch this. These don't have to be perfect. I'm just sketching little things in here so it looks like got trees in the background. It won't really matter that much, but I am going to pull the branches off. Okay, I'm going to go over here with a big branch. Go down here. Send that out toward the end. Come up here like this. And then I'm going to have some branches coming back into this way. A lot of these branches I'll have to repaint, so because I'm going to put things on them. Over here we got these long daddies. I want to tighten that tree up just a little bit. Okay. I know this looks really weird right now, but hang with me. It's a really dense forest in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some more water on this paint. I'm gonna come all the way over like that, maybe come up with that. I have some of the light on it because it's a tree. More wetter paint. Run the branches back and forth here, there, and everywhere. I don't have a plan or practical thing. I just want this light down here, and I'm going to come down here and give it a little foliage in the back. And you see the trees are starting to show out now and starting to do things, but these are going to be, I think, birch trees. So what I'm going to do is come back and highlight things, but I got to get the rest of these branches in. Don't really want a lot showing after I'm done painting the purple, just yellow coming through the background. Maybe one long one that comes across like that. Long and it gets fat and goes over there like that. Okay. Maybe I'll go down here like this and pull that in a little bit and get that a little thicker. Maybe run it away like that. So I'm just kind of sticking them in. You know, there's no plan. Nature doesn't have a set pattern, so I don't know why I need to. Okay, so here we got the trees. They're pretty dense on both sides, a little less dense over here. And I'm going to come back with my angle brush, which I like because it covers a lot of area. clean it off a little bit better. Got a little bit too much purple in it right now. And so, well, I'm going to come back and I'm going to actually start with a really bright color on the edges of these trees here. Old birch trees. Well, let's add a little magenta to that. I think the orange would look better. There you go. Yeah, I like the color better. I'm just going along the edges of the tree here. Tap it in real light blotches of color. Nothing fancy. Where it's reflecting here and there off the tree. You know, little dots, black through here. Pull out my handy dandy rag. I'm trying different colors here because, as everything is for me, an experiment. I don't like that at all. Come down these lines sort of on a straight edge and make them straighter. Sweet birch trees in here. I don't want it to look like vertebrae, so I'm just lightening these little branches up here. They don't stick out too greatly. Use the edge of my palette here to take off stuff I don't want. And so, coming straight down here. A bunch of birch trees in here. They're not perfect. Who's perfect? Nothing's perfect in this world. Just light color. Everything's light color. The sun is soaking through it, and so get these lighted branches crisscross and interweaving here. These are going to be right because they're right here. With the sun. I get a little bit darker down here at the bottom because it starts to be in shadow and stuff. Let's rinse this out. Right now I'm just trying to build a world. This is an experiment. You know what happens in experiments. Sometimes the hypothesis does not work out. But I'm going to make it work. Little thin lines, little thin lines, little thin lines. Okay. Here's some little thin lines coming through here. Let's get all these little branches. Want them to be colored. Like the evening sunrise. Okay. I'm going to come back some really white whites on this side. Make them sort of rough and ragged. Really thick out here. Using a lot of white in this painting. For the trees that are a little bit closer, there's whites up in here. And whites in there. And here I'll come in and birch trees. These little bad boys back here. I'll fade those out a little bit. I want them to be there, but not so prevalent. These almost a stark white. They're picking up color. This white, don't worry, it's not too white. This white's picking up color as we go. Okay, maybe tap some sparkles back here. Okay. Can't really see where anything is, so I'll come again with a little tiny white in the background. A little white up here. And this tree is a lot closer, so it's going to get a lot brighter white. Okay. Birch trees in here. Okay, so let's get some more white on here. Here. Bring some really bright whites out on these limbs. I like them kind of rough. I don't want them exact. It's kind of the idea of birch trees in here. They're not perfect replicas of birch trees. They're just little birch tree things. So bright you can barely tell. The sun's happening back here. Little breaks in the tree. I'm trying to be perfect here. Kind of give it a kind of look. Like that. I'll come back on the other side over here. These limbs right here are right up there in the sun. So we're going to make them really bright. More bright than that. They're so bright you gotta wear shades. I'm gonna go ahead and come back here and put some colors in there. come back with some big old white. And this paint is very wet all over this thing, so a good chance. Now let it kind of fade toward the bottom. I'm really adding more tree to this tree. I'm going to come back with a darker shade. This bad boy. I should have on this one. Darker movements in here. Very difficult to paint and talk at the same time, people. And I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for an impression of a birch forest and birch trees around. Just looking for a feeling, not really looking for anything that's super duper fancy. Get a big old hunking chunk of this stuff. I'm not going to cover up all the purple. I'm just not, because it's supposed to look like trees. So I come back in, tap here, and tap right down this tree there. Come back around here. Like little dots like you'll find in birch trees. Little dots everywhere. And I'm going to come back brighter, but not that much brighter here, and see. Purples in there. I'm going to cover up a few of those purples with the yellows and stuff. Come back and put my holes in the tree. Woodpecker's been busy. So here I am, just putting holes in the tree. Holes in the tree. Okay, so let's go back in here and put some yellows over those light purple lines. These get darker back through here, so I kind of want them to be darker back through here. These get just a little lighter than I wanted. All right, now this is where it gets kind of weird. I'm going to step back and look at things real quick and see how it's going. Okay, nothing going. Maybe this phone ain't reset. That's probably why it's not working. I'll sit back and look at this for just a second. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Good to see you. I am live, painting with a grumpy old man. And the painting is very bright, very light, and kind of that's where I want to keep it in this area. I do have the purples coming through. I have the abstract trees on there. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use a very small brush and just a touch of black paint. Just a little itty bitty bit. Don't need much. And off here in the distance, we have a lady there. Okay, make the head just a touch bigger. They're walking away, so I don't want them too close to me. Okay. I'm going to go to get another brush since I have 20,000 of them. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. There you go. There'll be a little And I'm going to put a layer of magenta on here. That is way too dark. The person just walking away. It's too big. Big brushes. Like this. I'm just gonna. No, that's not gonna work. There's a little lady just walking back here in the woods. Have some light playing off her hair. More light. So we got a cubic hair. Give me some grays, man. Give her a little parasol. Umbrella here, parasol umbrella. Instead of a parasol, I'm going to make it dry for just a second. Come back with this bad boy. Give her a very light purple. Very light purple umbrella. But it's not really an umbrella. Come back with some white. Just gonna blink. Maybe make a nice got her little mushroom there for her umbrella. Come back to our very small brush. And I'm going to multiple different colors on this mushroom. Okay. Maybe some more magenta, a little lighter magenta. Okay. And come down here with nice magenta thing. She's holding her mushroom up, keep her safe from the sun. Just have some bright red streaks going through here. Okay. And so for the final act, close off my forest floor. I'm going to come back to my brush that never fails me. And I'm going to go in and get some yellows in this thing here. And I'm going to actually have to lift it off here because I want to get to the very bottom of this. I don't want it too bright. Let's add a little bit of brown to this. Give her some yellow grasses in here, leaves up in here. And that's where she's walking. Back in here with the plants around there. Okay, I think I'm going to call it quits on that one. Today's experimental piece, and we're going to do a landscape next. If you want to stick with me, we'll be doing a beautiful landscape. Thank you for joining me. Let's move this one to the side and I'll be right back. You know what? I think I changed my mind. I think I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to start off with a, looks like a 2-inch brush. Gotta get the water out of that. And I think I'm going to do a night sky. Really like purples. Purples are great for night skies. I'm just working it back and forth. I like to do these little X motions right here. They work really good. Yeah, had a great day at school today though. Kids were almost good. Just kidding, they were great. Got a lot done. Nobody died, that's always a good day. You may notice that I'm putting purple everywhere, and that is true. I absolutely am putting purple everywhere. Every once in a while I like to do what I call the alien landscapes. And this is acrylic paint, and acrylic is different from oil paintings, because oil paint takes a long time to dry. It's very beautiful, and it tends to be a little bit more translucent than do most acrylics. Acrylics, you can't really see through them once you paint them on, whereas unless you add white to oil paintings, you're going to see right through that puppy. So, got to get them nice and dark. And I'm going to put a lot of different layers and stuff on this one. May not finish this one today, but we'll come back and finish it at another time if I don't finish it now. I'm just putting the base coat on. I'm just making it straight dark purple. Straight dark purple. And it's a good color to get everything started with here. We'll do a couple special effects maybe. I'll come back and put planets and stars and landscape and stuff like that on my alien planet probably another day, but I want to kind of get this started. If I can find the right one, there's the right brush. Get this brush. And got another brush I got to get. Big honking brush right here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of wicked, kind of neat. So, I'm going to go with a little magenta here, and I'm going to mix it into this white, big white, right? And I'm actually just going to put big globs. I want this big and thick up here. Maybe one more right here. Then I'm going to take this bad boy right here while everything is still wet. Starting up here, I'm going to start pulling it up. You got to pull this up. And it makes sort of an aurora borealis look to it. Pulling it up, 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 pulling it up. Okay, pull it up. And I'm actually, I think, going to add, I am on the magenta kick right now. Add a couple lines of magenta through this. Okay. And this won't be as obvious as the white was, but you can still see it. Pulling it up, pulling it up, pulling it up, pulling it up, and it's going to go into the white in certain places and make a really beautiful pink. Flip my brush over, pulling it up, 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 pulling it up. We're getting sort of a really cool looking effect in our sky right here. Down here, I'm not worried about it too much because I'm going to put rocks and junk like that, like a little alien landscape. But I do want to rinse this brush out really dry. There we go. All that water out of there. And as Bob Ross used to say, I'm going to beat the devil out of it. Bye-bye, devil. And then I'm going to come across like this, just to smooth the painting out a little bit. Make it look like I want, where I want it to look. Okay, I kind of want that still up there. And then come on back down. It's not really overly pink up here in the sky. It's got a nice little sort of spacey look to it. And of course now, what we've all been waiting for. Actually, probably nobody's been waiting for it. If he is or resents stunts, that's really bad Italian, I guess. So I'm going to get really wet white into my brush. I'm going to start making stars. I like to put the stars on before I put the planets on, because if you don't, let's have a little white splash. You can have anything you want here. Put a lot of stars. That's a cluster over there. The whole thing may be a cluster, who knows. Get the stars all up in my sky. Okay, I'm going to have to let this dry. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then I will come back tomorrow when this is perfectly dry and start drawing my planets on my landscape in. Actually, I could do the landscape right now, I suppose, but I want to think about it a little bit before I do it. So get ready to come back for some great painting tomorrow in our universe. And I thank you for spending time with me painting with a grumpy old man. Enjoy the painting and have fun doing it. Love each other. Treat each other well. Be healthy, be happy, and stay off my lawn.